channel. So, I made a blunder. I'm only human. What I realised when I loaded my last video, and I said at the time, this was the last one in the whole 12 weeks to a sustainable you. And then when I actually started looking at all the subject matter, I realised there's actually one left. So the last one was actually number 9. So if you remember when I set up the 12 weeks, week 1 was like an intro, then we had week 2 through to week 11, which today's 11, was literally all the subject matter, and then we had the Q&A, any questions that might have come out of previous ones, which was the last one. So yes, I made a blunder. Okay, so actually the one I forgot to talk about was nutrient timing. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Luckily, it's only a fairly small subject, so it won't take me long to go through. So what we're talking about is meal timings, nutrient timing. What does it actually mean? What it means is that you'll be eating a certain food at a certain time to get a specific outcome. That's basically what it means. Talking a little about the history of nutrient timing, it's been used by bodybuilders, by athletes for over 50 years. And the idea is been promoted into sort of general population to promote fat loss, increasing muscle gain, and also improving performance. So studies have been done on it, and there's been loads of studies done on nutrient timing. The problem is that most of the studies that have been done on endurance athletes, people who are sort of a high level of athletic performance. And the problem is the results from those studies don't actually apply to the average person. So we'll talk a bit about nutrient timing today and how it might affect you. And really there's 4 times that we might want to look at to see what nutrients we would eat at those times, and we're going to discuss them. There's 4 of them. So nutrient timing at breakfast, nutrients pre-workout, nutrients post-workout, and nutrients at night. So there's 4 areas I'm going to talk about, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Okay, so nutrient timing at breakfast. Now, if you want to know more about breakfast and if it's important, I did a full video on this. So this was one of my videos in the 12 weeks to a sustainable you, was all about breakfast. So if you're interested in the details on this one, have a look back at that video. But basically, the long and short of it is, it doesn't actually matter if you have a breakfast at all. Many professionals used to say that they recommended a low carb and high fat breakfast, and that was to give energy, mental focus, there's that satiety. They said it caused more fat burning, but actually that was more because you've eaten more fat, so therefore you're burning more fat. You're burning dietary fat as opposed to body fat. So also some studies said that having a high protein breakfast was more beneficial. Now that's probably the case, but it's probably just because protein is generally quite beneficial at any meal. It doesn't matter that you're necessarily having it at breakfast. So the whole breakfast, nutrient timing at breakfast is a myth, and it really doesn't matter if you have breakfast or not. But let's talk about the sort of pre and post workout. So we'll talk about post workout first, or the anabolic window, you've heard it called, or the window of opportunity. And what that talks about is that between 15 minutes and 60 minutes after working out, you need to get a meal in because your body is in perfect condition to absorb nutrients. You'll have all seen it. You go to the gym, you see the bodybuilders and people who are training for physique needing to get that protein shake in. If they forget the protein shake, they rush home to get it. That is basically because they're working on this theory of the anabolic window. Well, actually, they've sort of proved now, there was 2 key principles to the anabolic window, and there was the one that talked about carb replenishment. So what that said was that 30 to 60 minutes after training, your body was in a prime situation to absorb carbs. Now, that is relevant if you're training more than once a day. If you're only training once a day, you've got plenty of time between training and the next training the next day to get those carbs replenished in the cells. Obviously the carbs are taken into the cells of glycogen. So if you were training twice a day, maybe that would be relevant. But if you're training the next day, you can see how really it doesn't matter about getting carbs in 30 to 60 minutes after you train. You've got plenty of time to get that sorted out before the next training session. And to be honest, it's the same with protein. The reason why protein became a thing is because it kicks in muscle protein synthesis. So people thought that if you didn't have protein within an hour of training, you weren't going to kick off muscle protein synthesis, and therefore the training will be wasted. Now that's not the case. Really, what's the important thing now, what you want to concentrate on, is total daily protein. As long as you're getting a decent amount of total daily protein, you're hitting that target, whatever it might be, 100 grams, 150 grams, 200 grams if you are heavier. As long as you're hitting that and you're eating a meal with a decent portion of protein in, quality protein, you will have covered it, so don't worry. So the post-workout window, yeah, take it with a pinch of salt. You've definitely got more than an hour. Okay, pre-workout nutrition is actually probably more important than the post-workout, if I'm honest, because there are certain supplements and things you probably do that might improve performance when you do train. There's 3 I can think of. Caffeine. Naturally, you're going to have to take caffeine pre-workout to get the effects to improve your training. Again, I talked about this in our supplements video. Be aware of that around trying to sleep. So if you train in the evening, maybe caffeine should be pushed to the side. Also, eating an easily digestible, well-balanced meal around 60 minutes to an hour and a half before training, that could improve performance. Obviously, just having those nutrients in your system give you that energy to train. So that could be important. Also, hydration. People don't think about it. And again, I did a full video on water and hydration. So if you want more details on that, it's there. But most people go into a workout dehydrated. So if you're a person who sweats a lot, or just for everybody, I think it's worth getting some fluids in before you train. And again, if you do sweat a lot, get some electrolytes in. If you sweat a lot, you're losing salts all the time, so some minerals and electrolyte salts will really help you out before you train, so include them. So basically that's the pre-workout side of things. So pre and post-workout, out of the 2, I'd say pre-workout's probably more important, but really a lot of these things, especially with the post-workout and the anabolic window, really only apply to sort of elite athletes and people who are training multiple times a day. Okay, so the only other one we've got to talk about is nutrient timing at night. Now, there was another myth that if you cut carbs at bedtime, you would lose weight. Again, it's another of those myths that needs to die, because basically why that did work is because overall, if you're cutting carbs at night, you're probably also cutting total calories. So therefore, calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. But actually, for a lot of people, when you eat carbs, it can increase the level of serotonin released by the brain, which can help you sleep. So actually, for people who struggle with sleep, or don't get a regular sleep pattern, it might actually be beneficial to get some carbs in before bed to help you sleep. So that myth about cutting carbs to help you lose weight, forget it. Maybe include some carbs if you do struggle with sleep, because being hungry when you go to bed is the worst thing for trying to get a decent night's sleep. So basically, that's everything. We've talked about breakfast, we've talked about pre and post-workout nutrition, and we've talked about nutrition at night. And really, if I'm honest, my conclusion is the current research doesn't really support the importance of any of these timings of nutrients, apart from maybe a few of those pre-workout things I talked about. So don't worry, as long as you're getting your daily calories correct and you're under if you're trying to lose weight, as long as you're getting your daily protein on the nose and you're finding something that's sustainable and consistent for you, you won't go far wrong. So once you get those big building blocks in place first, forget about these timing things. At this moment in time, they're irrelevant. Once you've got all your ducks in a row, maybe you can go down that route of really refining things in terms of nutrient timing. But at the moment, I think don't worry about it too much. Okay, well, I told you it was going to be a quick one. That's it. That's my take on nutrient timing. Again, if you've got any questions on this, please get them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. And I promise you, that is the last of our 12 weeks to a sustainable you. That's the last topic we've got to talk about, unless I've gone mad again and there's something else in there that I've forgotten about. But no, I think that's it this time. I definitely had a look. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe and send this to anybody else you think might be interested. And I will see you in the next one.